order. I want to welcome everybody. Gentlemen, if you have hats on, we'd like you to remove them. And greet our internet listeners, all of them at home listening. Remind you to turn your cell phones off or onto silent, please. And with that, I'm going to ask the secretary to call the roll.
Representative Goodwin, excused. Hunt?
Here.
Ismay?
Here.
Ladner?
Here.
May? Knowles?
Here.
Peterson?
Here.
Rice?
Here.
Schubeck?
Here.
Dipin?
Here.
Whitman? Here. Gosh?
Here.
Overwig?
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I will take a motion for, it has been moved by Representative Gosh, seconded by Representative Knowles to approve the minutes. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed? Our minutes are approved. Okay, remind testifiers that sign in the back if you're going to testify. Ensure the lobbyists that you're wearing your right badges and we can see them. Testifiers, if you have handouts, please use our wonderful pages. And with that, we're going to have the pages come up and tell us where you are from and your name and where you're going.
My name is Taryn Torsney. I am from Tyndall, South Dakota, and I just signed on to the Army National Guard.
I'm CJ Moses. I'm from Pierre. I go to TF Riggs High School, and I'm going to South Dakota School of Mines and Technology to major in engineering.
Very good, very good. Okay, any other introductions by the committee? Okay, then we're going to get to work. How it's going to go today is we have to finish.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Can I make an introduction quick?
Absolutely.
I believe it's the Sodaro class from this year here. I don't have a script, but they're the Sodaro class, South Dakota Ag and Rural Leadership. Let's welcome them. Thanks.
Welcome to you all. I thought we had a lot of testifiers in here. I was getting a little scared, but nice to have you visiting with us today. Okay, here's what we're going to do today. We have to finish taking action on House Bill 1267, and then we'll get on our bills. And I got to tell, we have a lot of testifiers. We are going to be a hard 12 minutes proponent, 12 minutes opponent on every bill today. And I'm telling you, we're going to run a hard clock. So please, if you testify, don't take all the time. A lot of people want to tell us what they think. So with that, we're going to go to House Bill 1267. Require statewide livestock ownership inspection, and we are in committee comments and or action.
Mr. Chair.
Representative Van Dypen.
Move to 41st day.
It has been moved by Representative Van Dypen and seconded by Representative Gosh for 41st day. Comments on your motion? Further comments? Okay, we have a motion for 41st day on House Bill 1267. Madam Secretary, we call the roll.
Representative Goodwin, excused. Hunt?
No.
Ismay?
No.
Ladner?
Aye.
May? No. Knowles?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Rice?
No.
Schubeck?
Aye.
Van Dypen?
Aye.
Whitman?
Aye.
Gosh? Aye. Overwig?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, we have 8 yeas and 4 nays.
Okay, receiving the votes that motion needed, House Bill 1267 will go to the 41st day. Okay, moving on, we're gonna flip the top two. So we're gonna be on House Bill 1273, revise certain mining statutes. Is there any proponent testimony to House Bill 1273? And you are on the clock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have an amendment to move.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Okay.
So move amendment
Hope. Representative.
A. I'd like
Hunt.
to move House Bill 1273, Amendment A.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, it's been moved by Representative Hunt, seconded by Representative Rice to move 1273A. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are on 1273 as amended.
right.
Now, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative.
Chair. Representative Yuri Volk from Rapid City, District 32. Well, thank you all for having me here. I respectfully ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 1273. South Dakota currently regulates mining under 2 separate chapters that haven't substantially changed in decades. One chapter, 45.6, governs sand, gravel, limestone, lithium, and other what we call construction aggregates. The other chapter, 45.6b, governs industrial mining such as gold and silver. So 2 chapters. These 2 systems apply very different standards. Under 45.6, concrete aggregates, an operator may submit a very short application, pay a very small annual fee, and begin operations with limited public notice and no required environmental baseline review. There is no structured pre-approval hearing process, and bonding is generally flat rate rather than based on the actual reclamation costs. Under 45.6b, operators must submit a detailed application, and again, 45.6b is silver and gold currently. Operators must submit a detailed application with environmental and technical documentation. Baseline studies are required, landowners are notified, and public hearings may occur if concerns are raised. Bonding is site-specific and tied to the real costs of reclamation. Annual reporting and oversight are built into the framework. So today we have these 2 different regulatory standards governing activities that can have similar real-world impacts on land, water, and surrounding communities. House Bill 1273 repeals most of chapters 45.6 and places mining under all mining under the more comprehensive framework of 45.6b, creating one consistent statutory structure going forward. So just to walk through the bill a bit step by step, there's a lot. Much of the bill text is not creating brand new policy. Instead, it consolidates and modernizes. The bill updates definitions within 45.6b so that the chapter clearly applies beyond references to gold and silver, ensuring that sand, gravel, limestone, lithium, and similar materials are regulated under the same framework. You will see that reflected in the definition updates and conforming edits throughout the chapter, while 45.6 itself is repealed near the end of the bill. So after these scope changes, much of the remaining language consists of technical and style updates, modernizing terminology and aligning cross-references, and ensuring that 45.6b functions clearly on the single mining chapter moving forward. In other words, the bill is primarily about consolidation, clarity, and consistency. It is also important to clarify that this bill does not eliminate the distinction between small-scale and large-scale mining. Chapter 45.6b already differentiates based on acreage and production level. So mines affecting less than 10 acres and below certain annual tonnage limits continue under streamlined provisions. Larger operations, including those disturbed more than 10 acres and using chemical leaching processes or extracting higher volumes, are subject to a more detailed review notice, bonding requirements. So the difference between small and large operations remain intact. What changes is that the regulatory framework becomes consistent and impact-based. This bill benefits landowners and communities through transparency. It strengthens reclamation accountability by aligning bonding with actual site conditions rather than flat assumptions. And it provides predictability for operators by placing all mining within a clear statutory structure. Finally, this legislation is protecting long-term economic strength. Water is one of South Dakota's most valuable resources, particularly in the Black Hills, where aquifers, springs, and streams support municipalities' agriculture and recreation, and we're in a drought. Requiring baseline studies and enforceable reclamation plans protect that resource for the long term. Tourism is also central to our state economy. South Dakota welcomes more than 14 million visitors annually, generating over $4 billion in visitor spending and supporting tens of thousands of jobs statewide. The Black Hills are the heart of that economy. Today, there are mining claims within a quarter mile of the main entrance of Mount Rushmore National Monument, as well as lithium claims just north of the monument. This really underscores why thoughtful, modern planning matters. Protecting water, landscapes, and recreation is not anti-development. It is responsible, long-term economic stewardship. This bill will not stop mining. South Dakota relies on mining. What this bill does is ensure that our statutes reflect present-day realities, provide appropriate guardrails, and balance development and accountability. So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I respectfully ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 1273. For further testimony, you will hear from Dr. Lilius Jarding, with 45 years of experience in water and mining issues with Clean Water Alliance. You will hear from landowners, and you will hear from organizations who care. So with that, you also have a packet in front of you that is outlining exactly what kind of the two chapters do. There's also the differentiation between small and large mines that I would like you to look at, and otherwise I will stand by for questions.
Thank you. Further proponent testimony on 1273. You have about 6 minutes left.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is George Fandel, Pierce, South Dakota. I represent several organizations, including the South Dakota Isaac Walton League. We think this is a good start. I've seen examples of good mining, and I've seen examples of bad mining. I stood below the Brome Mine Hill. It's far up as you can see is sulfuric acid rock that every time it rains, it leaches. At the bottom was a Hollywood-style sized pool that literally looked like iodine. I mean, that was absolutely disgusting. They went out of business, declared bankruptcy, and the public is stuck with that monster. It's going to take millions of dollars to even attempt to repair the damage that was done there. Their bond didn't begin to cover it. I've seen examples of good. I toured a mine site that had been reclaimed, and it looked great. It was seeded in native grasses. It was contoured. The only way you could tell it was a former mine was the scars that were left on the rocks from the machinery moving around. So I would urge you, let's try and take some steps to fix this so that we don't have the bad mining and we end up with the good mining. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Further proponent testimony on 1273.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. Melissa McCauley, registered lobbyist for Dakota Rural Action, a grassroots citizen organization that's been in South Dakota for nearly 40 years. Dakota Rural Action supports House Bill 1273, which updates the state's mining laws to better address today's industrial mining practices. The Black Hills region has had a rash of mining claims over the past several years, leaving neighboring landowners worried about the negative impacts to their property and water wells. With tourism being such an economic driver in the region, people are also concerned about the detrimental effects of multiple new mines on the landscape. This bill repeals language that allows many mining operations to occur without public notice to neighboring landowners, environmental review, or full reclamation requirements. Instead of splitting out what minerals are mined, this bill designates the differences between large-scale industrial mines and small mines. The bill allows mining to occur within modern regulations and protect our communities and economic. House Bill 1273 will offer better protections for water, neighboring landowners, recreation, wildlife, and tourist industry. It will require mining companies to conduct business here in South Dakota as they do in many other states, pay their own way, and clean up after themselves. Dakota Rural Action asks that you support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for the proponent testimony on House Bill 1273. We have about 4 minutes left. Ma'am, you don't get to run my committee, so either sit down and testify or away. Well, that's fine. Introduce yourself and give us your short testimony, please.
I'm Nancy Hilding. I'm president of Perry Hills Audubon Society and the registered lobbyist, therefore. We support this bill. We find Chapter 45-6, which is the construction aggregate sand and gravel chapter, to be woefully lacking. We're supposed to have equal protection under the law here. The people who live next to hard rock mines can have a public comment period before a decision is made, and they can have a contested case hearing if they want. Under sand and gravel mines, you don't have that right. The decision is just made, and you're given 14 days or 15 days notice before the bulldozers arrive. And I actually personally live next to a sand and gravel mine. It's grandfathered in, but we want when you're blasting and you're doing limestone, it's different than just digging up historic alluvial riverbed. It's like real hard rock mining. There are impacts, the buildings shake. And we think this should be covered under 45-6B, the hard rock mining regulations, which are much more intense, have much more compliance, and above all, they give you a right to comment and ask for a contested case hearing before the decision is made, and equal rights for the people who live next to blasting limestone mines. Thank you.
Thank you. Got a couple minutes left for the proponent testimony on 1273 House Bill. Thank you. Introduce yourself and give us your short
I'm William
testimony.
Wagner. Nice to meet y'all. Members of the committee, I'm here in support of HB 1273. As an educated citizen, I want to remind this body that Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution guarantees us a Republican form of government. That guaranteed is fulfilled when this legislation acts to protect the people's water, land, and cultural heritage from industrial exploitation. While federal law provides a baseline of protection, the Supremacy Clause does not prevent us from doing better. In fact, it empowers us to set a higher ceiling for the safety of our communities. HB 1273 ensures that sand and gravel mining, which can impact our water just as much as gold mining, is held to the high standards the people of South Dakota deserve. Passing this bill isn't just good policy, it is an exercise of our state's sovereign duty to preserve and protect its people. Thank you.
Thank you. Further testimony on House Bill 1273. We've got 1 minute.
My name is James Bialotta.
Turn your mic on, please, sir. Thank you.
My name is James Bialotta. I'm a candidate for U.S. House. I also live in the Piedmont region. This bill is just common sense. If there's a single legislator up there that wouldn't mind blasting directly up to their property line, leaving a 30 to 100-foot chasm next to their property line that their animals or kids can fall into, please don't pass this. Because that's what we're seeing in the Black Hills right now. In the Gap, in Rapid City, right now there is approximately a 100-foot cliff or more behind the Harley-Davidson shop, which goes straight from a mountaintop to a sheer vertical drop of more than 100 feet. These safety concerns are more than just a general public safety concern. What about the landowners' rights next door when that hillside collapse? What about the property rights of having blasting done next to a school, church, or your home? This is common sense legislation. I'm not against mining, but you can't have blasting, cracking your foundations, or cracking your wells because there's no regulation to stop it. Currently, the Black Hills Fire Protection District is required to get a permit, but the state appears to be inactive in its duties. So the only way to protect it is in the permit process, which is what we hope to rectify. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Hang on a minute. Is there anybody who wants to do a Me Too? We're out of time. If anybody we have 3 online, Tristan. If anybody online, who are they? I've not seen them with you. Wants to give a Me Too, I'll let you, but we're out of time. Who? Mike Mendelson, are you there? Who else?
Jordan Middleton. Yeah.
Okay, sir, we're out of time, but if you want to give tell us who you are and give us a Me Too, you're welcome to.
Yep, Jordan Middleton, please vote yes. Resident of Piedmont, South Dakota.
Thank you, sir. Chris, how come I'm not? Oh, here we go. I got it. Chris, what was his last name? Chris Greenberg's not on. Anybody else? Okay, with that, and no one in the room wants to give a Me Too, we're going to go to opponent testimony on House Bill 1273. Opponent testimony.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify on HB Ella Bordewijk. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on Bill 1273. My name is Ella Bordewijk. I serve as Executive Director of the South Dakota Mineral Industries Association, HB 1273 represents a significant shift in a regulatory framework that has been in place for decades and has worked effectively for industry, regulators, and communities alike. This bill would repeal the existing mine license structure, and in doing so, fundamentally alter how aggregate and precious metals operations are permitted in South Dakota. It would also fundamentally change how precious metal operations can operate. This legislation applies a regulatory framework intended for large-scale precious metals mining to aggregate operations that operate in an entirely different sphere of the industry. Aggregate producers supply the sand, gravel, and crushed stone that build our roads, schools, hospitals, and public infrastructure. Forcing these operations into a large-scale mine permit process will not increase environmental protections. The standards and safeguards are already in place under the current system, with 45-6 and 45-6B having most of the same environmental protections. What it will do is create unnecessary delays, regulatory redundancies, and increased costs. Those delays will directly impact infrastructure and development projects across the state. As permitting timelines expand, the cost of aggregate materials will inevitably rise, costs that will ultimately be borne by the state, counties, local communities, and taxpayers. South Dakota has long maintained a reputation as an open-for-business state with a fair and predictable regulatory environment. HB 1273 moves us away from that balanced approach, creating uncertainty for established businesses and threatening the timely delivery of critical infrastructure projects. For those reasons, and for others you will hear from today, I respectfully request your opposition to HB 1273. Thank you, and I stand by for questions from the committee.
Thank you for their opponent testimony to House Bill 1273. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Deb Mortensen, representing the Associated General Contractors. We too rise in opposition to this bill. It is unnecessary and overly burdensome, especially to small family-owned companies that operate pits across South Dakota. It tries to treat local aggregate pits the same as large precious metal mining operations, even though they are completely different. This bill is equivalent to trying to put a round peg in a square hole, and we hope you can defeat it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mortensen, for their opponent testimony to House Bill 1273. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Mike Lees, administrator of DANR's Minerals Mining and Superfund program. DANR opposes HB 1273 for the following reasons. Construction aggregate mining involves a lower potential for environmental impact compared to gold mining. That's why the streamlined mine licensing process provided under SDCL 45-6 exists. Subjecting sand and gravel operators to the more stringent mine permitting process under 45-6B is unnecessary and inappropriate. DANR currently regulates approximately 1,500 licensed construction aggregate mine sites, but only 48 permitted mine sites like gold mines. Processing one mine permit usually takes between 1 to 2 years, whereas processing a mine license typically takes 30 days. This bill creates a significant regulatory burden without providing additional funding. Section 18 under the amendment repeals 45-6B 96, presumably because it refers to permitted activities as of January 1st, 1992. This section is important and still applies to active large-scale mine permits. Repealing this section would make large-scale mine reclamation requirements less stringent, which is probably not the intent of the author. Last issue, throughout sections 1 through 16 of the amended bill, the form and style updates have inadvertently created a number of inconsistencies within the chapter and removed important definitions in an effort to conform with formatting guidelines. This bill would be burdensome for all sand and gravel operators, would increase the cost of sand and gravel statewide, and creates significant additional personnel needs for DANR without making provision for additional funding. I urge you to vote no on HB 1273.
Thank you for their opponent testimony. We have about 6 minutes left.
Good morning. I'm Pete Lean, president of Pete Lean & Sons. I'm generation 3 in our family mining business. We've been in business for 82 years, mining limestone, iron ore, sand, and gravel. So we deal with all of the issues that are spoken of. I believe that there are things that I would support in this bill. With Nicole, maybe we had a chance for more conversation. My concern is it's way more overreaching and burdensome than I think is necessary. We've been awarded the only mining company that received the Earth Care Award from the EPA. Robert Redford gave us the award. The biggest mining industry association in the world chose us as the environmental steward, saying this is what the mining company should emulate for reclamation. So I'm proud about how we're a good corporate citizen in South Dakota. I appreciate living here. Our employees are the best in the world, and we do want to be proud of what we're doing. We'll continue to do that. I had to pass the mom test for reclamation. She had to look at what we did. That's a tough one. We want to be reasonable, but this is a bit overreaching, and so I'd ask for another shot to try to get a better bill in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Father opponent testimony. 1273. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Garth Wadsworth with Elevate Rapid City. Since 1983, the state has recognized that there are operational differences between how aggregate mines and precious metal mines are implemented and exist in the real world. And that has necessitated different regulatory processes. I would argue that this bill actually agrees with that. If we look at Section 1, Sub 7 at the very top of page 3, we establish a new definition for what is considered a large-scale mine. Other than mines that are already in place, there are 3 criteria that would qualify. 2 of them are based on size, so a large-scale mine defined by size. The third is anything that utilizes cyanide leaching or other chemical processes. This is intended to address precious metal mines that do not meet the size requirements. Why is that? Because regardless of size, they have a different risk profile and need to be managed under different regulatory processes. I would argue that an 11-acre aggregate mine has more in common with a 9-acre mine than it does with a homestake or a core wharf. That seems obvious. And then I think it's worth emphasizing, keep in mind who's going to bear the brunt of these increased costs. It's going to be the counties that purchase gravel. It's going to be the townships, the rural road districts who have to bear that additional cost and deal with the delays in implementation. So we'd ask for your opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Further opponent testimony to House Bill 1273.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Ryan Budmeyer with the South Dakota Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I'll be very brief. We ask you to oppose HB 1273. We think it'll increase costs to our businesses, add in extra layers of regulation, and could drastically delay projects throughout the state. So we'd ask you to defeat this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Further opponent testimony in the room. Okay, do we have any opponent testimony? Oh, we got one coming yet. Sorry, about missed you. Welcome. No, take your time. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony. Turn your little mic on there. There you go.
How am I doing? Okay.
The camera can see the mic's on. Lucky you.
Fantastic. Good morning. My name is Jasmine McCauley. I serve as the environmental manager for Core Wharf. We are the only large-scale gold mine in South Dakota. We respectfully oppose House Bill 1273. It does introduce changes which seem arbitrary to the bill. There is discussion of permitting and acreages that are written into the bill that would affect us. As far as we can tell, and after discussions with the DANR, we understand this to be arbitrary and based on nothing as far as we could tell. There are already requirements and regulations in place for permitting and how we do that with the state. This bill causes a bit of confusion on that, and it would be very hard to be successful, and it would cause probably delays and confusion on how to do that because of the 2 differences in the current legislation. So we do respectfully oppose this bill.
Thank you. Further opponent testimony. We've got about 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Josh Veet. I'm with Next Gen Agla. I'm out of Madison, South Dakota. I am here in opposition to this bill. I resound with Pete Lean there that there are some good things in this bill. I think that that would be worth looking at in the future, but as a small family and fairly new operation, limestone operation in the state, if this bill were to pass, there are several things in this that would have prohibited us from moving forward as a smaller limestone operation, non-blasting in that. So with that, I guess I would advise to oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for their opponent testimony. House Bill 1273.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Amy Koenig. I'm here with Dakota Gold Corp, and I'll just rest on a me too. I joined the testimony of the other opponents this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. And we got about a minute left. So, yep. Any further opponent testimony? 1273.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. John Moore, CEO of Morris Inc., an aggregate producer here in Central South Dakota. We've heard a lot about what's occurring in the Black Hills, but what we haven't heard about is what this would do to the rest of the state. We operate 4 crushing spreads throughout Central South Dakota. This would essentially handicap us in our ability to produce materials for counties, cities, and the state. So I'm definitely opposing this bill.
Thank you for their opponent testimony to House Bill 1273. We have a Danelle Weibers online. Weavers, are you there, Danelle?
I am here. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Chair.
Can you give us your name, introduce yourself, and give us your short testimony?
Certainly. I'm Danielle Weibers. We farm and ranch out of Awanka, South Dakota. I've also been in mine permitting for the last 20 years. I'm a me too on most of the points that were given already, so I won't waste your time on that, but I will add that the repeal of 45.6 would also include the repeal of 45.677, which is an exemption of extraction for personal use, which is widely used by the agricultural industry. So I hope those young students that are listening, this is important on why we pay attention to these bills.
Thank you, ma'am. Further opponent testimony. Do we have any more online, Tristan? No. Okay. Then with that, would you like a rebuttal, Representative? Only one rebuttal, so.
Yeah, I'll be handing it over to Lilius, Dr. Lilius.
Okay, but okay, thanks. One rebuttal, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Lilius Jarding. I am the registered lobbyist for Black Hills Clean Water Alliance. I live in Rapid City.
Do you have a badge, ma'am? Are you registered?
The office wasn't open for me to get it this morning yet.
Okay.
So I don't have one.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then we're just going to say you're representing yourself to keep it all legal.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
If that's okay with you, that's fine with me. House Bill 1273 fills the gaps in current laws that leave our communities, families, beautiful landscape, and water unprotected. Under current law, SDCL 45.6, some types of mining can be allowed without pre-licensing notice to communities. All that is needed to get a license for any number of mines of any size is a one-page application, a surety, and $100 per year per mine. For some mining, there is little protection of historical sites, cultural sites, and other special places. House Bill 1273 fills these gaps, and all while eliminating outdated laws that do not take account of the impacts of modern, large-scale industrial mining for certain minerals. This is an urgent issue. Limestone mining in the Black Hills could impact communities' water. Lithium mining on 2 sides of Mount Rushmore could impact a national treasure and the future of the local economy. House Bill 1273 is a one-stop bill that streamlines mining laws and solves many of the issues that have arisen with modern industrial-scale mining. At the same time, it maintains the distinction between small-scale and larger-scale mines. This urgent problem requires immediate action. If you wait until next year, there may be more licenses granted without public notice, without public involvement, without proper consideration of the impacts of mining. The statutes must be changed to protect people's wells, future water availability, tourism, agriculture, in short, our entire economy. please support House Bill 1273. And thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, with that, we're going to move to committee questions. Are there any committee questions? Representative Schubeck.
I've got a question for anybody on the proponent side. What is the major geologic difference?
Hold a second
Sorry.
now. Let's just, okay, who do you want to direct it to?
Anybody that can answer the question.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a geologist, somebody like, are you?
I will try.
Okay, go, state your question.
So, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Ma'am, will you shut your mic off when you're not using it? That way the camera switches to where it's going so people can see at home. Thank you.
So, my question is the geologic difference between East River and West River. Why is there such a geologic difference, and what created that difference?
Turn your mic on, you turn yours off. Representative, there you go now. We're catching up with the cameras. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. There's actually a lot of geologic difference between East River and particularly the Black Hills. The Black Hills are an uplift that has been around for millions of years, and it doesn't have layers, nice, neat layers of rock like you would see East River. It also has more kinds of mineable materials.
State your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So follow-up question is, when the glaciers receded East River after the last ice age, there was a lot of cames, eskers, moraines left behind. So I just want you to answer, why was there so much gravel in the East River versus the West River?
There's actually gravel both. I'm sorry.
Can you answer that question, ma'am?
Yes. There's actually gravel both places. Most of the current gravel operations that, like on most farms, those kinds of things would fall under the small scale designation of this legislation.
Are you good? Questions, Representative Whitman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a question for Ella Bordwyk.
Miss Bordawake, there you go. State your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Does this bill prohibit mining, or does it require additional review when disturbed acreage expands beyond a defined threshold?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Ella Bordawike with the South Dakota Mineral Industries Association. Thank you for the question. So this bill, essentially, it would throw anything that is not beneath the 10 acres of any kind of gravel aggregate into a large-scale mine permit. That is going to make it extremely difficult for any operation at that size to economically run as a business. These operations are not a large-scale gold and silver operation. I apologize. They are much smaller in size. They run much less time than a gold and silver operation, and they're very necessary for all of our critical infrastructure projects. It's very difficult to have an aggregate operation that is economical at less than 12 acres.
Follow-up, Mr.
Go
Chair.
ahead.
Thank you. My understanding is this doesn't impact gold. So would you be able to point me to the specific language in the bill that reclassifies aggregate operations as large-scale precious metal mines?
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. So what this bill does is it just reclassifies these aggregate operations that are larger than 10 acres under a large-scale mine permit, which is what most of the gold and precious metals operations would fall under. It is not that this bill is reclassifying them as a gold and silver operation. It's just putting them under the exact same permit that those operations would initially file for.
Mr. Chair, I have a follow-up question for a different testifier.
Okay.
Thank you. This is for Dr. Lilius, I believe.
Okay. State your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you please explain the difference between environmental assessments before and reclamation after between 45.6 and 45.6B as it currently stands?
Can you answer that question, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the current regulations are minimal as far as reclamation. They have to re-slope the area. They have to do some other things to, like plant grass, those kinds of things. The reclamation regulations under the 45.6B require a reclamation plan before mining. There's no reclamation plan for the 45.6 mines. So 45.6B requires a more orderly and effective amount of reclamation.
Representative Ladner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This question is for Mr. Lean.
State your question, please.
Mr. Lean, can you please clarify, in your professional opinion, are we addressing two separate industries here?
Please reintroduce yourself and
My
answer
name's
the
Pete
question.
Lean, Pete Lean and Sons. This, my understanding of it as read, is it doesn't differentiate necessarily between types of mining or industry. It tries to just make all of operations that go beyond 10 acres fall under these rules. That's my understanding of the proposed. Am I answering your question about the bill or about my opinion about the two industries?
You want to re-ask, or are you good? Okay, go ahead and re-ask. State your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In your opinion, can one set of regulations serve two separate industries?
This set of regulations could not. There may be one that can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Representative Rice, did you have a question? Yes. State your question, or who's it for?
The doctor.
Okay, state your question, please.
Okay. I was wondering on 45-6, how does the impact study, is there any impact study in a 45-6 versus the 45-6B?
Can you answer the question, please?
45-6B requires minimal environmental planning or regulation. It's one reason that we would like to see 45-6B to cover those kinds of situations.
Would you like a follow-up?
Follow-up, yes.
State your question, please.
With 45-6, that one has minimal. Is that what you're saying? Okay, thank you.
Okay, you got your question answered? Mr. Van Dypen first.
For the prime.
Representative, I called you Mr. I gave you an up. Representative Van Dypen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the prime sponsor.
State your question, please.
Representative, I'm reading, I believe it's section 7 of the bill as it's written. And there's a line that says an operator may not continue temporary cessation of a product longer than 5 years. And if they leave it, they have to terminate and reclaim the property. There are egg producers on the east side of the state that have a quarter of ground that they've dug up themselves for gravel. And they might have a huge stockpile that'll last them more than 5 years, and nobody will buy that. By this, are they then forced to reclaim that ground and cease all their operations the way I'm reading this?
Please reintroduce yourself and answer the question if you can, Representative.
Representative Yuri Bulk. I might have to phone a friend, but I will say, but the question is they're done with mining, correct?
No, a lot of them have a gravel pit that they leave there. They use up what they've got and they dig more out of the hole. They don't reclaim it.
Go ahead, try to answer that if you can.
Yeah, so I will say the thing is that especially in the Black Hills, like leaving mines open for a long period of time really affects our economy. On the east side of the state, I think that if for 5 years, that's a pretty long time, and so if you're gonna not continue to use it, then it should be reclaimed. We could be open to an amendment for that if needed, but we think that if you're opening up a mine and you're leaving it for more than 5 years, it needs to be reclaimed back to, in North Dakota, it's 3 years. They have to reclaim open pits within a 3-year period. And so do you feel like it's a kind of a compromise between the two?
You good? Okay. Representative Peterson.
Yeah, I believe for Mr. Lees with Danner.
All right. State your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just trying to frame around, the significant changes that appear to be in this bill. Thinking more East River, where I represent. Currently, the fee, what is the fee right now for a gravel mine? And do you believe, as I do, that the new fee, if it's over 10 acres, which most of them are a quarter or whatever, would be $50,000? Am I reading that right, in your opinion?
Go ahead and answer. Please reintroduce yourself.
Mike Lees, Department of Ag and Natural Resources. I do agree, Representative, that the fee for a sand or gravel pit over 10 acres would be $50,000 under this bill. I forgot the first part of your question.
You repeat?
Yeah, and what is the fee right now?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So for sand and gravel operation, the fee is $100 per site annually.
Follow up?
And again, if it's kind of a long bill, but these permits would, in the new bill, would expire after 5 years, so they would have to do a $50,000 permit every 5 years.
Go ahead.
Chair. That's the way I interpret it, yes.
Are you good, Representative? Okay. Seeing no other questions from the committee, we're going to close public comment or public testimony. We're going to move to committee comments and or action.
Mr. Chair.
Representative Whitman.
Mr. Chair, I move to pass.
As amended.
As amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, don't sound so sure about it. Okay, we have a motion moved for due pass by Representative Whitman, seconded by Representative Hunt. Short comments on your motion?
Short comments, Mr. Chair. In my opinion, this bill does not shut down mining. I understand it's a long bill, but it's not that complicated. It just says that when the footprint grows, the review and the reclamation responsibilities grow with it, which I think is reasonable. We sit on the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee, and we spend a lot of time talking about ag production, which is really important, but we very rarely get the chance to protect the natural resources of South Dakota in this committee. And part of our job is making sure that we're protecting the land and the water that we are entrusted with. If there are tweaks that are needed in this specific piece of policy, we can work on those, but I think the basic idea here, which is that oversight should match impact, makes a lot of sense to me, and I hope other members of this committee. Thank you.
Following comments. Representative Schubeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Part of my line of questioning was because East River and West River are so different in our geology. So if you just look at how the glaciers affected our landscape, there are gravel deposits throughout East River. And a lot of farmers and ranchers make side income off those gravel deposits. In fact, I've got some on our land, and like the good representative to my left said, sometimes they'll have those gravel pits open, sometimes they'll be closed. It's not the same as a gold mine operation where you've got blasting going on, you've got all sorts of caustic chemicals being used. It's nothing like that. You have a bulldozer, you open it up, you have a loader, you might pile up that gravel for a few years and use it. Furthermore, as an ag producer, we have a lot of privately used roads, trails, driveways that we have gravel brought in from neighbors that have temporary gravel pits that they use every once in a while. They'll haul in a load of gravel, drop it off so we can redo our driveway after a wet year. And so they need to separate out what we're talking about here. And I fully appreciate the problem. I have more family history in the Black Hills than I do East River. And so I totally agree with protecting this resource, but we need to separate the gravel and some of these other operations. That makes it problematic. So thank you.
Representative Gosh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd move 41st day.
Substitute motion by Representative Gosh for 41st day. Who is the second? Representative Van Dypen. Comments on your 41st day motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, as always, I do appreciate, much like the former speaker here said about what you're trying to do here and what you're trying to accomplish. But unfortunately, in my opinion, I've got a generational gravel pit, and it's really cute that you East River guys have to dig for gravel. It's just right there on the top for us. But but yeah, I mean, we basically have a generational gravel pit, and that would put us in a lot of trouble with this. So again, same sentiments as the former speaker.
More comments. Representative Peterson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I will support the motion too. I just think this is a lot broader and more detrimental than maybe everybody realizes, and I think it's not good the way it's formed West River or East River, and in my district, I mean, we live along the Vermilion River, a lot of tributaries, and there's gravel gravel mines all over where I live, and this would significantly impact private property owners, my neighbors that supply gravel for counties, townships, private individuals. Taxpayers pay those bills, so we don't want to raise these costs more than they already are. So I'm going to support the 41st.
Further comments, Representative Ladner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to commend you. I think this is a wonderful start to separate, but we need to separate the industries. My concern is the one set of rules trying to regulate two industries. So I'm going to support the 41st day, but I hope you continue and let this evolve.
Further comments on the 41st day motion? Seeing none, we have a motion for 41st day. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Representative Goodwin, excused. Hunt.
Aye.
Ismay. Okay, excused. Ladner.
Aye.
May. Knowles.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Rice.
No.
Schubeck.
Aye.
Van Dypen.
Aye.
Whitman.
No.
Gosh. Aye. Overwig.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, we have 9 yeas, 2 nays, and 1 excused.
Okay.
Excused.
Receiving the amount of votes that needed, House Bill 1273 is amended. We'll go to the 41st day.